with Mal, and I have the two amazing ladies here behind the two checks. We have the red check, which is Haley Moseley, and then we have the yellow check, Jessie Henderson. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, let's dive right into it. I know you're busy, and you know, this show is kind of my passion project. You know, being a female entrepreneur, I'm always fascinated at how people get started and what inspired them. And I know Haley from, you know, our school days, and we worked in restaurants. That's how we met. Mm-hmm. And how did you two meet? How did this partnership, friendship start?
Same, restaurants. That's what brings people together.
Yeah.
So we met working together at a restaurant in 1999 or something like that. Yes.
Yes, it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
She was just a baby. She was barely legal to work. She probably had to have a permit.
My parents signed off on my job because I was very young. So.
Yeah, I see. And then we went to school at TMCC together to study graphic design. And shout out to Dan if he's still there. That was our teacher.
And Ron.
Yeah. And I know that Haley went into graphic design after, you know, we got our degree and for a local company, and I went into the printing route, you know, doing print production and things like that. And I think we collaborated, did, you know, a couple of jobs. So kind of walk us through and, you know, how that translated to, you know, the food truck. I mean, was it the food truck idea to start with, or was it something else? Or?
So after all those years that took me to get a
Me
two-year
too.
it turns out I didn't really like sitting at a desk all day as a graphic designer. And then when the economy crashed in 2008 or so, that's actually when I got hired there. But about 2010, they kind of cut back on their staff at the place that I was working, and the graphic design department got cut out. So I was jobless, and I was looking for something, but graphic design, you know, it kept coming up, and I was like, I just don't want to do that.
You weren't excited about it.
It wasn't, you know, the design part is super fun. I love the creativity and the, you know, being artistic. That's what we loved about it. But sitting there all day and then kind of also changing my art, people changing my art into something that I was no longer proud of was hard. And then, so we decided we were going to open a food truck. First, we really wanted to do a grilled cheese restaurant.
Yeah, we had the grilled cheese concept. You know, and it being the time that it was, 2010, the economy was still not great. Nobody wanted to give us money for a restaurant, so we kind of morphed that into, well, let's just start with a truck. You know, we can do that a lot cheaper. And with Reno being such an event destination and such an event town, you know, it really worked out well starting that way. So.
That's really interesting. So that was a business decision, right? Because the cost and, you know, getting financed and qualifying for a brick mortar was not in the cards at that time, but you were determined, hey, we're gonna do this, you know, like what can we do? I mean, the food truck idea, I think is brilliant. You know, I think I even read somewhere that you two started the Food Truck Friday, right? Or that's kind of the whole thing. So where did you get the idea of the food truck? You know, was it from like the TV shows, or just
I think it must have been some TV inspiration.
Yeah, there was the great, or what was it, Food Truck Wars or Race or something that was on back then, and they were bigger in other cities, but we only had,
there was like a couple, you know, like
there really wasn't any
trucks and then all the taco trucks, so people thought we were crazy.
Yeah.
Like everybody was like, you're gonna do what?
A roach coach?
Yeah.
A lunch truck?
Why would you buy a food truck?
Yeah.
Is that what family and friends were doing? Get the feedback that you were giving?
Mm-hmm.
So
my family was just like, okay, but we'll support you.
If this is your dream.
Yeah.
And then that's when Bessie, the truck, was born, right? Yeah. Okay, so tell me about Bessie, you know, how she came about.
She was a taco truck in California.
Oh, okay.
And we went and saw her and just had stars in her eyes, and we thought she was the most beautiful thing ever. And it was like our dream come true. And then the old owner drove her here, probably because he didn't want us to see how she actually drives for distance.
I see.
And then it was parked at my parents' house for probably 6 months as my dad was doing a lot of the renovations on it.
Was it ready to go, huh?
I mean, we thought it needed like minor, like cosmetic things and like a few changes to it. And it was like 6 months of my dad working nights and weekends, like
It had
having all of
been
it.
through a flood and
Oh my
the
gosh.
floor was all rusted out. So we had to replace that and then just a lot more than just, it was thousands of dollars worth of work.
Well, it's not every day you go on shop for a food truck,
Right,
you know,
right.
so it's not something that you would just normally know how to do, and well, I'm glad that you had that. That was really mechanical, and that really helped
Knows how
out.
to do everything, so.
Did you have a timeline? You're like, okay, I'm gonna buy this truck and we're gonna be ready to go. And then, kind of walk us through the process of the business side as well, because I know a lot of my listeners are entrepreneurs, are starting to have an idea and they want to start something. So, yeah.
Well, the first thing is you have to learn to be flexible because nothing works on your timeline ever.
Right. You gotta roll with it,
That
huh?
goes for all the restaurants we've opened and everything we've ever done. Like you think it's gonna be this, but it's actually 6 months down the road or whatever. But
Or more.
and Two Chicks South was 2 years later. So we wanted it to be.
Long project.
Wow.
I think we thought we would open the beginning, like the first quarter of the year, and we ended up opening in May. So
That
it
wasn't
wasn't
bad.
too far
Yeah.
off. But we had this huge deadline because we had signed up to be part of Earth Day. So Earth Day was our very first day of business.
Right.
Like we had one family and friend trial run, and that
Right.
was it. And then we
Right.
did
I
Earth Day.
came to that. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, by the old tattoo shop, right? Was it
Oh,
that-
our friends and family night.
Yeah. Okay.
And then we did Earth Day a couple days later and got our butts kicked, but I think we handled it pretty well and just started from there. And we were just busy ever since, really, doing events. And I mean, we were booked a lot. Not every event was successful, but.
So that's interesting too. So, because in my mind, like a food truck, you just kind of go, and then people will come. They just kind of show up. So you actually have to book a location in order to
Well,
park
we
there.
Learned the hard way
Okay.
because there was no literature or anything
Right.
about what we
How
were
to-
able to
yeah,
do.
Right.
And all we knew was I knew where I was doing graphic design, there was a lunch truck that came and he would be there for like 20 minutes and then he'd go to the next stop and then he had a little route, but we didn't want to do it like that. There was one other example of a gourmet truck that did bars at night, but they were out until like 3 a.m. and we also didn't want to do that, even though we did try it. It was not for us.
Yeah.
And so we started
Too rowdy, huh?
Yeah, it was rowdy. Yeah. We started offering like office complexes. Hey, can we come park in your lot? Because it's private property. Because the rules were, we learned the hard way, you can't just park on the street. And you can't park next to restaurants and you can't, there's all this stuff. And in fact, we ended up having to go to city council and
I
like help
remember that.
develop ordinances.
Yes, right.
Yeah, for food trucks because it was
Yeah.
so brand new to this town and like restaurants didn't want them next to them and we can't park on the street. And so what can we do? So we can
Right.
park on private property.
Yeah.
So that was what.
Like 3 hours at a time.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
like 100 feet from a restaurant.
Yeah.
It was 300, right?
300
And you
feet,
gotta
yeah.
change it to 100. That's huge. I mean, that's like a whole different side of a business that you probably didn't even think you're gonna have to know or
No.
buy into, or
Yeah.
you just kind of like, okay, what do we have to do now? Oh, we can operate. Okay, who do I need to talk to?
There was one day in the beginning, what was it, the Downtown River event?
Oh yeah, so River Fest or whatever.
Yeah, so we go and we like find this primo parking spot,
Yeah,
and then we get shut down.
you're all excited
I
too.
think it was like horrifying and embarrassing, and then like we had all these people like that knew our location, and then we had to like re-Facebook it that we're going somewhere else, and
But people were always like, well, come here, you can park on my property. We have such a strong, following and fans.
support.
And it was kind of the fun of having the food truck was hunting for us, and people still talk about that to this day.
Where's Waldo? Where's Bessie?
Right. Where are they today? You know?
So they would, you follow us around town. But so when that day that happened, somebody would say, come park over here. Yeah, but then we had to rebroadcast our location, and it was a learning curve for sure.
interesting.
Yeah, every day is an exciting day.
Yeah,
Good
that
and
is
bad.
the whole thing. And actually, still to this day, restaurants,
Yeah.
every day is a new exciting thing. Or,
Yeah.
terrible thing or whatever. But it's never boring.
It's never boring,
Yeah.
for sure. And I'm glad that you brought up Facebook, Jessie, because I think you ladies have done a phenomenal job. I can't even talk today. Job with your branding and the look and the feel of it. So were you the kind of the creator of that, and you guys kind of collaborated because she had that background and.
I mean, that is the beauty of that
Right.
training,
It did come in handy. It wasn't completely wasted money,
It saved us a lot of money.
Yeah.
On web design, on print, on, everything.
Logo, branding, all of it.
Yeah. So that was, Jessie's the finance, money person,
Oh, okay.
math, because that's not me at all.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I'm, the more like artistic
Yeah.
logo person. So yeah, that was my morning every day. I would route us on a food truck, and then do our social media. Now we have somebody who does our social media.
Nice. That's awesome. And then how did you come up with the idea of Two Chicks? And I love that. I think it's just awesome.
Well, we knew that we didn't want to retire in a food truck.
Yeah.
So we were kind of looking for the next step. We wanted to branch out of Gourmelt, that concept, and kind of expand. We had played with a dinner concept for a while, and then we were on the food truck. Jessica from Junkie had called and said, Midtown needs breakfast. Like, you should find breakfast in Midtown. So we went. We finished lunch. I think we, in the 3 hours that it took us to serve lunch on the food truck, we had come up with a name, a general concept for the menu, different items we wanted to do.
Yeah.
A bar menu. And then we cleaned up the truck and we went down to Midtown, the Sticks development where we are. We ended up seeing the landlord and we chased him across the parking lot and we're hey, we're the two chicks from Gourmelt, can we talk to you? And he was sure, come to my office in an hour. And we did.
Yeah.
And that was that.
That.
It all happened in a day.
Yeah.
We had a lease for another spot that we were wanting to do dinner, and thank God we didn't because that's consuming.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then, I think that was a year and a half from signing the lease to opening up.
Because you opened Two Chicks 1 in 2014, right?
Yeah.
I see. So you came up with the concept in 2013,
Uh-huh.
and the gourmet truck started in 2011.
Yeah.
That's a lot of growth, in such a short period of time. That's so amazing. And I think it's so neat to hear the backstories. You refer to yourselves as the Two Chicks, right?
Yeah.
Because when you're chasing down, hey, we're the Two Chicks, and
That's exactly where that name came from. Everybody called us those two chicks that run Gourmelt. So with the breakfast theme and everything, it just made sense.
It just makes sense, huh? That's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. And then talk to us about, the challenges, with Two Chicks, of course, when it first opened, because that's probably a whole different ballgame than the Gourmelt truck, huh? Even though the Gourmelt truck, I'm sure, had its challenges, with the truck itself, and now you're, building.
Yeah. Well, the main challenge or change for us was having employees, because it was only she and I in the truck for 4 years. We only relied on each other, and we knew each other's thing. Yeah, we knew each other's capabilities.
Ordering, customer service,
Yeah.
Payroll, us.
Yeah.
Bookkeeping, all of it was just the two of us, and then relying on other people, which is amazing in so many ways. And we've had some really great staff, but it was definitely challenging because you needed so many more people,
Right.
and having people are unreliable and don't show up or don't do the job right. So that was really challenging, and we were busy from the start, and just you learn a lot of lessons when you're thrown into a situation like that. So
Right.
looking back, it's nice, but the start was rough.
Yeah, and then where we started with 12 people or something,
Yeah.
and now we have 50.
You have 50?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
And before the
Before the shutdown.
before the 25%,
Yeah.
we had almost 90.
Holy moly. So now do you have an operations manager that kind of takes on that role and, with the employees, or are you doing it?
we have managers at each store, so they're hiring and firing and writing up and dealing with personnel and
Daily operations.
yeah.
daily operation. Okay,
But
that's
Jessie still does payroll, you know, and like we still do as much as we can.
yeah. And then you still do the. I know you said that you just hire somebody for your.
She does like, you know, she's took over the website because all the stuff that we learned as far as web design is obsolete.
I know.
And it's much easier also.
Right.
It's plug and play.
Right, and more user friendly. Yeah, I just downloaded the latest Adobe. I have no idea what's going on in there, you know, no idea. So WordPress or Squarespace, or, you know, those new platforms is so much easier. I get it. I totally
But
get
I
it.
mean, if there's some kind of big like thing, I can still use Illustrator, and I still prefer to use Illustrator over anything else.
I'm an InDesign girl. I love InDesign.
But you know, so there's not as much because we're pretty solid in our logos and our you know, stuff like that. But so there's not
the design.
I just don't have much to do anymore because it's all designed, and there's nothing really new happening. And like our social media person will make a little graphic if she wants to or whatever. And she has her concept of how she wants. What does she call it? The grid.
The grid, right?
To look.
Right.
And you know.
Yeah. And then the social media is probably a huge tool for you ladies when you first started going out.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, like, you know, tell us about that.
I think that was the perfect timing for everything back then. It was just so easy. Facebook was popular, really popular, but not like what it is now, where it's like
oversaturated.
And so Twitter and Facebook, Instagram was really new back then.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we had like 6 or 7 pictures on there. It was just like people weren't using it that much. But it was mostly Twitter and Facebook, just broadcast where we're at, and then people followed us. We did not pay for advertising for years.
That's amazing.
And it was really nice. And we did get an app made so you could, it was the Gormel app.
So you can follow you around.
And that was neat. And it was really inexpensive. The kid designed that for us and just wanted to, you know, make something and have his little side hustle.
I see.
He's moved on in life to do something too.
Yeah, and then he gets real life experience as well, so that's cool. I mean, did you guys kind of sit down and come up with a marketing plan, because that's, you know, so essential to any business, no matter what it is. So, you know, did you kind of, you know, go through that process, or were you just like, hey, we're gonna do this, what's free, let's just do it?
It was more organic like that. And then just branding, constantly branding, selling our t-shirts, putting stickers on everything, giving stickers away, you know, free guerrilla marketing, really.
Yeah, like the circuses in town, you see posters everywhere and just get your names out there.
And then nice people like you bring us on their podcasts. That helps.
I love it. And then what was like the biggest lessons that you learned, you know, from transitioning from gourmet to a restaurant?
I think relinquishing a little bit of control, you know, to trusting people.
Delegating more.
Delegating more.
So
that we don't run ourselves into the ground.
There's a lot of important things, you know, like now, there's a lot of important office things, especially with this year, that we need to make sure, you know, that the business will be here long term and that the business can survive, especially everything that's going on right now. So it's important for us to have those key people that can run the daily operations so we can get done the things we need to get done. And in the beginning, when we were working so much on the floor, you know, like you have to work on the business, not in the business all the time. So it's really been important for us to give that control over. Getting close to getting it. Giving payroll to somebody else. I don't want to do that. Not quite, but one day. So.
Well, that kind of brings, you know, to my next question is, you know, their balance, you know, in your life, because, and especially being female, you know, not that dads or guys don't have their responsibilities and their struggles, but, you know, being moms and being female, being entrepreneurs, and, you know, 3 restaurants now. Talk to us about, you know, the challenges or, you know, what you're doing to kind of achieve the balance.
You know, well,
Or is there balance? You know?
there totally is. I mean, there totally is, and you just have to make room for that. And I
Right.
think the most successful people really leave a lot of space for themselves in their lives.
Yeah.
But I also work with my best friend every day, so
Yeah, that's so fun. Yeah.
not every day anymore, which is
I know.
sort of sad, but 3 days a week.
Yeah.
And we still get together and have wine and dinner and stuff all the time. But as far as like family balance, I mean, you just have to. And that is why we are so thankful that we opened a breakfast restaurant, because we're not away from family at night. And I think if we had done dinner, that would have changed things a lot.
Right. Right.
And there is a lot of flexibility, at least this stage, in in the restaurants and the business. I have a young daughter, so it's been really nice. With the holidays, if daycare was closed on a Friday when I'm normally working, I can usually work it out to where I can be home with her that day, and
Yeah.
just bring her with me to check on the restaurants, and she
Right.
knows now that she owns the place. But
You're gonna be free checks. You're
Yeah.
gonna come.
For
she's
sure.
the head chick for
She's
sure.
head chick.
She's all of our bosses, let's be honest.
But yeah, so in that respect, it's awesome.
Yeah.
We-
Because you are your own boss. Yeah. You can do things. So I mean, that's kind of the sacrifices that you make. Once you get to that point where you are the boss, so you do have some flexibility. Yeah.
we will always go in and work if it's needed. At any of the restaurants, if they need us, we'll be there. But everybody knows that, but they also know, that we need our time with our family and everything too. So it's
Yeah.
nice.
So-
really.
That's good. That's great. I'm struggling with that. I'm definitely trying to, find that balance myself. And, in real estate, you're on call basically,
Right.
especially with this market, and you just kind of have to be ready to go. So I've had to implement certain things and letting go, control.
Yeah,
and,
that goes back to that. You
Yeah.
I think
Gotta
setting
delegate.
boundaries too, I think
Yeah.
especially with you, like your phone's probably constantly going off, but we'll get, employees calling in or employees calling us with issues at all times of the day, and sometimes you just have to be like, I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah.
And put my kid to bed, I can't, I
Right.
can't handle this right now, so
Right,
we'll deal
unless
with it
there's
tomorrow,
more
unless it's
fire.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless it's like a huge emergency, it can wait till tomorrow and we'll deal with it then, so.
Right. And there was a fire, right?
Yeah, there's been a couple fires.
That was a truck, thanks.
Oh,
no.
no.
In Midtown.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
we've had a
That was
couple
a huge
fires.
fire.
Oh my
Now
gosh.
I'm just kind of waiting for the fire itself.
Is that kind of like the way to break in, the building and
I
the
think it's
restaurant?
just like, hey, pay attention. Or something, I'm not sure.
I don't know what the lesson is.
Have good insurance, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. And so what other challenges are you facing today? Obviously COVID is probably a huge one. Moving forward, growing your business. What are you guys working on right now?
We have a couple little side projects happening.
Oh,
Just for the restaurants
Restaurants, I see.
themselves.
Yeah.
We have big plans, for future, but COVID is definitely putting some brakes on things.
Yeah.
Financially,
yeah.
we don't have the money to build out another store or do anything like that at this point. But we have a little thing we're gonna call Side Chicks that's going in Midtown that's just connected to.
Side checks, you guys hear
Side
that?
Chicks. It's just gonna be
Look out for that.
connected to the building so that you can get like a Bloody Mary or a mimosa or whatever from this little kind of barn looking thing on
Yeah.
the side of the restaurant if you're waiting for a table or if you're shopping in the shopping center or whatever.
Okay.
So that's kind of a fun thing that we're working on right now.
Do you have a location scouted out already? Right next to
It's
it?
actually
Is
just
it literally-
touching the building.
Connected.
Really?
Yeah, they're building it for us.
They're
It's
building it
basically
for you.
in the alley.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's brilliant.
So someday when things return to normal and people, because there used to always be kind of a crowd and
Right.
hopefully there will be a time when we can do this again,
Yeah.
that you could grab a mimosa while you're waiting instead of going in and trying to weave your way through.
Right.
Because
Right.
things are going to get back to normal.
They
someday.
will, absolutely, absolutely. I believe it. I think that's such a great idea, because a lot of these times when I even go to go orders or things like that, you have to wait outside.
Yeah.
So, and then I know the Plum Lane project. they're gonna focus heavily on outdoor dining, and they're gonna have like an app that you can order and things like that. So, you know, we're definitely, you know, seeing that trend and going towards that direction. So it sounds like you're ahead of the game.
Forced a lot of businesses to innovate,
Right.
and pivot, and be flexible.
Right.
You know, we've streamlined a lot of our processes and worked on, you know, other dreams that we've had, and you know, selling some of our stuff, like having a little grocery store at both the restaurants is really cool. Now we can sell some of our homemade products, and I think we're gonna, you know, continue working on that. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have it on my list to try one of those gravy sausage and biscuit and gravy to go weekend things, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm gonna do that one of these days. It looks so good.
Yeah.
I can't wait. I love everything that you guys make. Maybe
Thank you.
but that's awesome. So talk about the big projects. I mean, if you don't mind sharing, like, what do you see yourself down the road? Are we thinking franchising? Are we just thinking more local stores?
I don't know that we'll franchise.
Two Chicks for sure. I don't think we'll franchise. You know, maybe one or two more stores.
Ooh.
One in Maui. That's really our vision.
You know, that's awesome. So definitely more stores, more restaurants here.
Yeah, we'd like to space them out a few years. You know, and with the Two Chicks, the South Two Chicks, we had booked for a space for a really long time for that one.
Yeah.
And just kind of, you know, we knew that we wanted to expand, but we weren't in some huge time crunch or some hurry. So
Yeah.
we definitely waited till we found a spot that we thought was really going to work for us. Like,
Yeah.
we learned, you know, the restrictions that the Midtown location has as far as size and parking and all that kind of stuff. So we were
Right.
able to really be kind of picky about what we wanted.
Right.
You know, and find the right spot. And I think, you know, whatever project comes next will be the same kind of feel.
Yeah. That's the thing, I think. That's the biggest lesson that we've learned. If you have to force it, it's probably not going to work.
Work. I see.
It's like things happen more organically that are meant to be.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to say about, you know, you have a dream and go after and get it and overcome it. But then, you know, what you're saying is that, you know, if things kind of fall into place, then go with it. That's part of, you know, learning and growing too. That's part of business, you know.
Yeah, there's a difference between, I think, determination
Right.
and like forcing something to happen.
Right.
It's just the start, you know, when we weren't able to get a loan for brick and mortar Gormel, instead of throwing in the towel and just being like, well, we're not doing this.
Right.
You know, we were like, well, let's do a truck. So.
Which ended up being a huge blessing.
Right.
You know?
So that's what started everything. And then Gormel is now in Sparks, right? Yeah. How's Gormel doing?
It's doing great. It's
Yeah.
an easy store to run, and
The business model works really well with, especially, you know, these times, takeout and everything is
Right.
really kind of geared towards that. So I think there'll be more Gormels in the future.
it's like a neighborhood. Like we compare it a lot to Porta Subs because
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like that.
Right.
The melty.
The melty, yeah, and homey,
Mhm.
and delicious, and gooey. I love it.
Hopefully pick up like stomach gurgles.
That's okay. It makes them hungry. It makes them want to go out and get a sandwich or something.
I still crave our food after a decade.
Yeah.
What's your favorite? Do you have a favorite dish or a
Oh
favorite
gosh, it
sandwich?
depends on the day, really. Right now, well, this is not unfair to talk about because it's only special for the month, and so you only get it like once a year. But in Gormel right now, we have a French onion soup melt.
Yeah, I saw that. I gotta get it. I love French onion soup. Yeah.
But I think part of the thing is we eat there every day. We eat at our restaurants every day. And so, you know, you look for the special because it's not the same as everything else. But I don't know, what's your go-to?
At Two Chicks?
Yeah.
The breakfast tacos for sure. Or salads. I love our salads. So
Yeah.
spinach salad's my jam right now.
Yeah. And if I was going to be bad, I would eat our chicken fried steak. Or
Yeah.
anything with gravy because our gravy is
So good.
yeah.
That's awesome. I haven't tried the breakfast tacos. I'll definitely have to, you know, try that
I
next
definitely eat those at least once a week.
Yeah, me too. They feel less like naughty than a biscuits and gravy to me.
Right. A little bit less carbs, you know, more protein. So I'm good with that. I love your butter too that you guys made. That's so good.
Thanks.
What do you put in the butter? Can you share?
Different fruit, you know, so usually it's either strawberry or blueberry. We did cranberry, we've done orange, banana,
Banana's really good.
Yeah.
Apple.
Ooh.
and then,
Blackberry.
you know, it's just it's like a compound butter.
Right, right.
And we sell that.
Oh,
in tubs,
did
you
you
know?
hear that?
So you can get that.
That's awesome. And then, you know, before I let you ladies go, I know you're busy. What advice do you have for entrepreneurs that's out there that have an idea that, you know, is, you know, wanting to start a business?
I mean, I think that was when we first started. Everybody was like, "What's your business plan? What's this? What's that?" And we're like, "We don't know." We went to SCORE, and we learned how to make a business plan, and then, you know, just overcome. You know, try to learn, get through that obstacle, and see.
Just get started
Yeah,
and
get
figure it
started
out.
and figure it out. There's still things that.
There's a lot of resources available, you know, and so many people that you can reach out and ask for advice and ask, you know, how to do this, and, you know, I mean, Google is the best resource.
Yeah, you do.
So,
Yeah, I think my go-to now.
Yeah. and just don't give up.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's really hard, but I don't think there's a day that we regret it. So
Yeah, if you really believe in something, then you can make it work.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much.
thanks for
Everybody
having us.
go check them out. You know, we're melting Los Altos and Sparks, and then Two Chicks 1 Midtown, and then Two Chicks 2 on South Virginia. And see you on the next one.